mandates 3 years after the pandemic started. If the United States eliminated all fossil fuels, it would make little difference in global temperatures. But policies to do so are hurting Americans. This according to our upcoming guest. Today is National Night Out. The National Police Association tells us why this event is so important and how it helps foster safer communities.
Celebrate the power of food and fun.
Unlicensed and unregulated, it did not properly store biological material, medical waste, and infectious agents. The way they were disposed of also violated state law. They found nearly 1,000 mice. Most were euthanized and the rest were already found dead. The mice were raised in overcrowded cages with a lack of food and water. A person associated with Prestige Biotech informed the investigators that these mice were genetically engineered to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. Between May 2nd through May 4th, CDC agents found E. coli, Streptococcus pneumonia, hepatitis B and C, herpes 1 and 5, and rubella. In a declaration, Assistant Director of Fresno County Public Health, Humero Prado, said city staff communicated via email with Xu Qinyao, supposedly the president of Prestige Biotech, back in March. City staff requested Ms. Yao provide any licenses or certifications permitting the experimentation on and breeding of these mice. Ms. Yao and Prestige Biotech failed to provide any certifications or licenses from any state or federal agency for storage and experimentation on mice and other laboratory activities at the property. A reporter with the Epoch Times visited the site. Residents told him the business has not been in operation for at least 5 months, but noticed that someone is living in the building. They found individual phone numbers and addresses in China, but did not confirm that they have connections to business in California.
In late February, he changed his mind. He didn't think we needed lockdowns. Suddenly he decided we needed them. We also need to know about that proximal origin paper that he was involved in commissioning and pumping and advocating for the entire world. So it opens up a ton of questions. And I think full accountability just means getting to the truth.
And what do you think that is? Why do you think all these changes on Fauci's part?
Thank you for asking that. I can't say for sure, but I am almost certain, and I've felt this way for some time, that somehow Fauci's decision to lock down the country and follow the CCP model of pandemic control is related somehow to his cover-up of his relationship with the EcoHealth Alliance and the funding of the Wuhan lab. I'm not entirely sure how it's related, but something happened to Fauci between say late January and late February to cause him to change his mind and become the nation's biggest advocate of ending the Bill of Rights and restricting all Americans' freedom and destroying our economic lives. And we're still suffering from that decision. So we'd like to know a little bit more about how those things were related. It seems like it was related to a cover-up, but it's hard to know for sure without more information.
Further investigation required, for sure. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Tucker, founder and president of the Brownstone Institute and author of Liberty or Lockdown.
Kerry was there. President Xi made a speech saying he was not going to abide by Western timetables for reducing emissions. So with the Paris Agreement, he had said that China would peak its emissions in 2030 and reduce them thereafter. Now he is walking away from that, saying he will not do that. This is important because if China continues to emit carbon with its multiple coal-fired power plants, of which it's building more every week, then it doesn't matter what the rest of the world does. It doesn't matter what all the OECD countries do, because China's pollution is going to dominate global emissions. And last October, he said he wasn't going to reduce fossil fuel use until renewables could take over. And we know that renewables are never going to take over from fossil fuels.
So at the intersection of, say, record-breaking temperatures and climate change initiatives, what is the responsible approach and way forward?
The responsible way forward is, first of all, to measure temperatures carefully, because we have more urban areas. So we're getting higher temperature measurements because the thermometers are located in urban heat centers. So we need to be careful about measurements. There are academics who are doing series of rural measurements that avoids the urban heat centers. And just as an example, as I was driving home last Friday, my car thermometer measured 101 when I was in the middle of DC, and 10 minutes later it measured 91 when I got to the suburbs. So measurement is very difficult. We do not want to take rapid, drastic action. We want to move towards things that won't harm the economy, such as planting trees, making sure people have air conditioning, making sure people's gutters are cleaned so that when there's a violent summer storm, it doesn't cause flooding. These are the basics that we can do without imposing trillions of costs on the U.S. economy.
Diana Frenchcott-Roth, thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Striking New York.
We could have prevented the job loss and the death and the sickness and disease around the world had China not lied.
How did we get here?
This decision will go down as the most consequential and the most dangerous mistake in history.
Be careful raising a baby tiger, because one day it will grow up and eat you.
What's the cure for the CCP virus?